What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I'm here with Dan Loya. Dan, Monday Night Football felt a lot like Thursday Night Football with the amount of turnovers we had. Brock Purdy, three of his own. Bryce Young had two as well. Some fumbles mixed in there. It was an ugly, sloppy game, but I think the headline from tonight was the 49ers defense brought it, and they looked really good for the first time in a while. What were your thoughts on tonight's action?
Yeah, I think my overall takeaway from this game was both defenses played really well. They both defensive coordinators are pretty underrated in my opinion. You got Raheem Robert Saleh for the 49ers, and he's going to be one of the top head coaching candidates in the offseason. And we also got EJ Evero for Carolina. His defense for them has been quietly underrated all season. You see they deploy a zone coverage most of the time, and the cornerbacks have been playing really well. And I thought, the Panthers gave their offense three interceptions, and Carolina could not take advantage of it. Kind of
Yeah.
similar to the Cardinals game yesterday. It was the same story for the Panthers. They only got 3 points off turnovers. That's a huge swing in a game. You have to capitalize when your defense is playing extremely well, like they did tonight in that first half. I thought Bryce Young overall, he didn't play well. He threw for 448 yards last week. He played a more zone heavy scheme this week. Robert Saleh did not blitz that much, and he had trouble. He had trouble throwing the football tonight. I thought he threw a terrible interception in the first quarter in the red zone with the balls at
Yes.
like the 1 or 2 yard line. You can't do that, dude. That's just you can't give away 3 points there for your team. So that was a huge swing in the game. But yeah, man, overall, the 49ers defense, they're playing with a bunch of I was trying to look them up during the game. I'm like, man, did they draft these guys? Are they free agents? You just go up to anybody, like, who are these guys? And they're a bunch of random guys playing extremely well. And the 49ers just play extremely hard. They're well coached. And I'm impressed, man. They're what, 8-4 on the season.
Yeah.
And they're most of their starters that are taking up most of the salary cap they're all injured right now. So it's shout out to them, man. They have great coaches. Kyle Shanahan calls a great game, and Robert Saleh's got them going on the defensive side.
Yeah. Listen, I think the story of the game for this one for the Panthers is two different sides of a coin. You have to like one side of the coin where this defense showed up tonight against San Francisco's offense, made it uncomfortable for Brock Purdy the entire night. This has been one of the more underrated defensive units in the NFL. They stopped the run incredibly well. Christian McCaffrey had a tough day, and outside of a few missed tackles on the first drive, I thought they were nails the entire day. And then you flip the coin to the other side and you look at the offensive side of the ball, and it's just the continued inconsistency of Bryce Young at the quarterback position. I know I've said this multiple times this year. I think what we know we have in Bryce Young, like he's just not going to be the type of guy that's consistent enough or good enough that you can't move on from him as a franchise quarterback. I mean, from what we're looking at, like Ted McMillan, I think today had 7 targets. He didn't play his best game, but their lone touchdown was him succeeding on a double move down the field with the cornerback 8 yards off. Rico Dowdle averaged 6 yards a carry, only had 6 carries the entire night, right? This offense was
Yeah,
out of
that was
sync.
bad.
Dave Canales did not do a good job of sticking with the run despite this game being incredibly close, and it didn't help Bryce Young out. And you mentioned the zone coverage struggles for Bryce. It's about processing the field for him. He's not super tall. You saw a ton of balls batted at the line of scrimmage today. And I know a lot of people are like, well, like Drew Brees was a tiny quarterback and it worked for him, but Drew Brees could process the field incredibly quick, and he had
Absolutely.
the accuracy on top of that, right? Bryce Young's not processing the field well, and he also can't see the field, and he has big guys tipping those balls. It's not a great combination for him, and they don't do a good job of moving the pocket either to give him throws outside the numbers where it's probably a little bit easier for him to see. So, with the lack of a running game, a lack of easy plays for Bryce Young tonight, this is kind of what you get with a 49ers defense that, like we talked about, struggled entering this one. But I think Robert Saleh did a great job of confusing Bryce Young. Their pass rush was much better tonight than it has been, and they gave them problems. And it was despite them being put in terrible situations with the turnovers from Brock Purdy, being down the field in the red zone, making two massive stops, holding them to 3 points in two red zone trips was incredibly important to the outcome of this game. So credit to the 49ers defense. They stepped up big time. But Dan, I want to ask you this. Bryce Young, what are your thoughts? Where do we go from here with Carolina? It's not like they're out of the playoff race yet. Tampa Bay has been struggling, but they're 6-6. You got 2 games against the Bucks left. You play the Rams next week. You got the Seahawks as well. Where does Bryce Young and this Panthers offense go from here?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Obviously, a tough game next week against one of the best teams in the NFL, the LA Rams. But overall, the schedule, and then they do have Seattle. But the key is they have three divisional matchups still coming up this year. They have to run the ball, man. I agree with you, and I meant to say that earlier. I just felt like they had an advantage running the football. Whenever they did it early, I thought they were pushing the 49ers defensive line back. And even Joe Buck was saying during the broadcast, he was like, "Wow, he's got a lot of room here." And Rico Dowdle got like what 5, 6 yards it seemed like to start the game, and I was
6.3
like,
per
"Okay,
carry was the final number for him.
yeah." And I don't know why they got away from it. Even in the red zone, I don't even think they gave Rico Dowdle a touch near that
Yeah,
goal line. And then we're throwing with Bryce Young, and he throws a pick. The 2-point conversion, I didn't agree with that, but it was another pass play. You got the ball at the 1 yard line. You got Rico Dowdle. Just trust him. Those games they were winning, Rico Dowdle was getting what 150, 200 yards a game. That running
30
game
touches
is
basically. Yeah.
yeah, dude, that's their identity, and there's no reason to on primetime football totally switch it up. Uh, it's just that's who you are. Trust the process. That's your identity. Run the ball, control the clock, and Bryce Young don't make mistakes. And I think they just totally flipped their own script tonight, and it cost them a win. Maybe the lights were too bright for them. I mean, the receivers made a lot of mistakes. The balls were going right through their hands. McMillan was switching gloves, and I don't know. They're a young team, and maybe the going to San Francisco Monday night game, maybe that got to him. But overall, Bryce Young, I'm with you. Like I don't like what I see. He's kind of too small for my liking. It's just a different day and age, man. Like Drew Brees played. Uh, it's just different, man. That was years ago, and he had a great offensive mind, and it's just different. The guys are faster now. The guys are bigger, stronger, and it's completely different. Bryce Young, in college, he was able to move around, and he's kind of like that point guard. They kind of compared him to Steph Curry in the way he can dish it out all over the field, but it's different in the NFL. These guys are just a different beast. You're playing the best of the best every week in the National Football League, and you see Bryce Young struggles. If just like Atlanta last week, they blitz. They're one of the highest rated teams in the NFL blitz rate. Uh, that means on the back end, you're gonna have a lot of man to man. So man to man is a lot easier to read for any quarterback.
Yeah.
But tonight, when you're only rushing four and you got to read the defense, you're gonna struggle, and that's what you saw tonight. And that Bryce Young, either you got it or you don't. And right now, I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, it's gonna be a situation in the offseason where they bring in a guy like Jameis Winston or a veteran or something like that. I don't think they're going to say, Bryce Young, we're going to give up on you to the start of next year. I would be surprised if they do that unless they acquire, let's say, like a big time name, you know. But I can see
Mhm.
them bringing in competition for Bryce Young and making things interesting. Like even Kyler Murray coming in as competition or like a Jameis, like one of
Yep.
those veteran guys that hasn't really worked out or found a home can come and compete for a starting job. I know Joe Flacco is an interesting name for sure for them, I think.
Joe Flacco.
But like this team has talent. The Panthers are starting to
Yeah.
work towards more of a talented team, right? They're gonna have a decent like draft class coming up. They still have some money for free agency next year. So this is a talented young team that has ways to go. But I think with their schedule upcoming, like the playoffs are a bit unrealistic for this group with the quarterback play of Bryce Young. Their defense is good enough, I think, to be a playoff team, but with Bryce Young and his inconsistencies this year, they get the Rams, the Seahawks, Bucks twice. They're probably walking away 0-4, 1-3 during that stretch. That's not going to be good enough to make it in the NFC. But a team that's fighting for their playoff lives, Dan, the San Francisco 49ers, now sitting at 8-4. What are your thoughts on them entering the postseason? Looking at their upcoming schedule, they get the Browns next week, the Titans the week after that. They travel to Indianapolis on Monday Night Football, the December 22nd. Then they get the Bears the next week, and then the Seahawks. So a decently middle of the pack schedule there. You think San Francisco is heading towards a playoff berth?
Yeah, I'm trying to see where they are in the playoff picture right now. Where they at?
Well,
Let's see.
uh,
What seed are they? I see they're
they
streaking.
are sitting in for they're I think they're at the sixth seed, maybe I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, well, because 'cause they're just in a tough division. They're not gonna win that division. They gotta get in
Yeah.
in as a wild card. But I know if you're one of those teams like the Rams or Seattle, this is the last team you want to see in the playoffs. A team that's familiar with you. You have to play them twice a year. If you got to play them a third time in the playoffs, it could be one of those teams that could upset one of the top seeded playoff teams, in my opinion. Kyle Shannon and Robert Saleh, man, continue to coach these guys up. It's impressive to watch. You got to appreciate good coaching, and that's what those two guys are. As long as Christian McCaffrey's healthy, they're gonna go places. He's a special running back. You saw that tonight. The offense funnels through him and George Kittle. Obviously, Brock Purdy's got to improve. He just looked off tonight. I don't know. I want to get your take on it, but after last week, he looked incredible against Arizona. He came out like perfect to start the game, but tonight, dude, it just I don't know what it was, man. You
The
you could
10
tell
air
he was
yards
off
throws.
against.
Do you see that graphic? 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions on throws over 10 yards this year. That's not
Mhm.
inspiring confidence for me. I mean, obviously in a Shanahan offense
He looked
where
shaky.
you have McCaffrey, you got, a lot of plays designed for you, it's pretty easy, but on the throws when they need it most, Brock Purdy hasn't been there for them. And that makes me a little concerned, right? It feels like one of these teams. I think Seattle's fine. I think they'll make the playoffs. Their defense is good
Yeah,
enough.
they're
But
making
like the
plays.
49ers, Packers, Lions, Bears, one of those teams are not making the playoffs, Dan. And, the Cowboys are a decent team as well, mixed in there, and they have some ground to make up. But one of those teams in that mix is not making the playoff race. And, they're all sitting there 3 games at least above 500. If Brock Purdy is going to show this type of play against some really good, formidable opponents, it's probably not going to be good enough. Their running game has not been consistently good this year. McCaffrey's only averaging 3.6 yards per carry on the year, and their offense relies so much on him that it kind of stagnates it at times. And, we saw this team healthy last week, put up 41 points, which is great. Everything worked well for them, but they're going to have some tough defenses upcoming in these next few weeks, and it's going to be a good test for this team. And we all know their defensive struggles allow some of these offenses to play in these games and have a lot of success against them. I know we talk about Robert Saleh being a really good coordinator, but there's only so much Robert Saleh can do with the talent that he's been given defensively with these injuries San Francisco has. So Brock Purdy's going to need to elevate his play if the 49ers, I think, make a playoff run. But I mean, George Kittle is so good. You mean this guy's always open. He's always catching the ball and running after the catch. McCaffrey, same
Yeah.
type of thing. They open the game with 6 straight touches to him. Like they have
Uh,
superstars on offense. Like I have a hard time seeing them missing the playoffs with the talent they have. But they're going to have to, over the final 3 games, and it feels like that Chicago game is going to be the most important. They're going to have to find ways to win those games, and their defense is going to have to make the stops they did tonight. And Brock Purdy is going to have to be more consistent than he was tonight.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, I look at the game next week, man, against Cleveland. I have to do some research because off the top of my head, I know there's a history between Kyle Shanahan and Jim Schwartz.
Well, he
So
got
there's
upset.
got to
He
be
got upset in Cleveland a few years ago.
okay. All right. So
It
yeah, I
was I
know there's
think I
something
think
there, and it's
the 49ers, I think that was the year they went to the Super Bowl. They went and faced Cleveland, a bad Browns team, and the Browns upset
yeah,
them.
they lost. Yeah, it seems like whenever they go to Cleveland and Chicago, they always find a way to lose. So I think it's gonna be a tough game. Cleveland's one of the better defenses in the league. They're getting after it. They're kind of like, they're scary, man, like, I wouldn't wanna play that pass rush right now, and then after what I saw from Brock Purdy, I don't know if his toe like, he just came back from a toe injury, if I don't know what the weather was in Santa Clara tonight, if, it's a night game, maybe he wasn't feeling it, but, what's the weather in Cleveland gonna be off the Lake Erie there? I'm sure it's not
Yeah.
gonna be, 70 and sunny, so that's gonna be a tough game for them, the Cleveland's playing really well on defense, their offense is gonna have to carry 'em. Because just like you said, that defense is 49ers defense is limited right now with the guys they have, but they're playing extremely well. But eventually, against a good team that can score, the dam might break. So that offense has to step it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that thing plays out. The 49ers are going to have their work cut out for them and a tough schedule upcoming. But I mean, the talent they have is just as good as anybody else in the NFL. And I wouldn't bet against Shanahan and a healthy 49ers group of playmakers. Let us know down in the comment section below. Is this 49ers team playoff worthy? And what should the Panthers do with Bryce Young at the quarterback position? Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Sports Media content. And me and Dan will catch you guys next time.